Hi, you're watching Bike Routes of Brum, a channel dedicated to finding safe cycle routes across Birmingham. In this video, we'll be cycling from the city centre to Villa Park. With the football season in full swing and with it getting dark so early, I wanted to try and find a route that didn't involve using the canals. So in this route, we'll be using mostly quiet streets and protected cycle lanes, including part of the A34 Cycle Route, and it should take about 20 minutes to cycle. Aside from the part through Aston Park, which will be full of people on match day, the route should be well lit throughout. I've put a link to the route into the description below so you can download the GPX file for yourself. So we're going to start in Chamberlain Square and head down into Victoria Square, where we then take a left and cycle past the council building towards Colmore Row. As you can tell, the German market was on whilst I was filming, and so I decided to head this way rather than down New Street and towards Corporation Street. This part really highlights one of the big problems that I have with cycling in Birmingham, and that's that there's no clear way for cyclists once you get into the city centre. Roads have been made one way for cars in loads of different places, which makes sense, but the lives of cyclists could be made a lot easier by the council by just putting exemptions for cyclists on streets like Waterloo Street, which would mean we could avoid Colmore Row there and the buses. As it stands, I just had to kind of make it up as I went along, but basically heading for Temple Row in the best way you can kind of work out how to do it. We follow Temple Row around St Philip's Cathedral and Pigeon Park. This road isn't really used that much by cars, so it's quite nice to cycle along. We continue past House of Fraser and the wonderful Great Western Arcade there on your left, where we then pop out onto Bull Street. I didn't realise it when I was cycling, but you can actually just hop onto the other side of the pavement here and follow it around to the left onto Corporation Street, which is what I actually ended up doing. Still a little bit of a mess around here with all the tramworks, but you're not here for long as we kind of get to this roundabout and you can cycle through it. Just watch out for buses that come here from the main Queensway, but you can cycle through this bit. I think just the best place to do it is just where actually come off this crossing, because it's actually quite a big curb. But we're going to continue along Corporation Street and then come up to this mini roundabout, go straight over, and then we get the site of the magnificent red brick late Victorian Birmingham Magistrates Court there on your left and the Central Methodist Hall on your right. We follow this road round the bend towards the Children's Hospital, where it becomes Steelhouse Lane, and then head towards the blue cycle path that you can see there, where we drop down and head along next to James Watt Queensway towards the underpass to navigate our way past this big roundabout named Lancaster Circus. Once we're through the underpass, we find ourselves under the Aston flyover, where we head towards this other underpass where we have to take a left unless you want to lift your bike up the steps. Now this bit feels like it goes on forever. It's quite a shallow gradient, but once you're out, you're going to then go back on yourself and head towards Newtown Row, where we're going to pick up the A34 Blue Route. Just be careful with some of these slabs because they seem a bit dodgy, to be honest. I was alright riding over, but I don't know, just be careful. The A34 Blue Route is one of the two main flagship cycle routes in the city, the other being the A38 Blue Route, which I've cycled along in a previous video. This one's probably not quite as scenic as the A38 one, but it does seem to be designed pretty well, and it was really easy to cycle along. I'll take this opportunity to apologise for the quality of the video. It was pissing it down on the day that I filmed this, and so the camera got all splattered with rain, which makes it a bit hard to see in places. Given the time of year it was as well, it does make it look more miserable than it really is, so I might end up reshooting it if I'm stuck for ideas later down the line and I can find a sunny day. But like the A38 route, this one was also opened in 2019, and it now stretches up to the one-stop shopping centre in Perry Bar. It was meant to be one of the ways to get to the Alexander Stadium for the Commonwealth Games, but it never actually has managed to make it as far as the stadium, which is a shame because it hasn't really kind of done what it set out to. But this route does provide a really good way to get to parts of North Birmingham that were previously not really safe to cycle to, and hopefully people do actually use it. I actually think compared to the A38 route, this one does seem to go past a lot more places where people actually live. especially further up the route, and it could provide a more sustainable way for people to get around town. Yeah, you've got this retail park on your left with, an Aldi, a Farm Foods and a couple of other shops, which means that this route connects people's houses with supermarkets, which gives people an option to not have to use their cars. And this really is what these cycle routes should be built to do, which is give people more options on how to get around the city, so you're not just having to rely on your car. It also goes past one of, in my opinion, the most beautiful pubs in the city, the Barton Arms, which is just there on your right. It's a stunning Grade 2 listed pub that's well known for its stained glass windows and its Thai food. Pretty sure there's some railings outside to lock up your bike if you fancy a swift one on the way to the match. But now we're going to climb this little hill where the route starts to split off onto the high street, so it can circumnavigate this little roundabout that's coming up. If you wanted to go to Parry Bar, you'd just kind of carry on along the route, but this is where we're going to leave it. The roundabout itself is quite busy. I think it's got about 6 different exits, which is why it's called 6 ways. But luckily there's an underpass that we can use to avoid having to go on the road. You could walk your bike along that zebra crossing if you wanted to, but we're going to go down here through this urine-scented underpass and cross over the A34 here, and the road goes round here and you come to a zebra crossing here, which again you could walk your bike over here. I just kind of made my way out into the street, but we go left here onto Witton Road. It's 20 miles an hour around here, so theoretically shouldn't be too busy, and you shouldn't have too many fast cars going around here, but we're not on for long because we go right here onto Albert Road. Again, this is kind of a residential road. It's all 20 miles an hour along here, and you've got quite a lot of speed bumps, so hopefully people shouldn't be razzing it behind you. I think with it being match days, I'm pretty sure there's parking restrictions around here as well, so it shouldn't be too busy with cars. I think Witton Road probably would be, especially if you're leaving the ground. But if it's busy with cars, then they're not going to be going very fast. So you should be fine to cycle. But like I said, this route kind of avoids the main roads, and if you go along Albert Road, you should be all right. I can't ever imagine it being too busy on a match day. So to give you your bearings, this road is basically taking us parallel with Aston Park and towards King Edward's School. And you can just see the Aston Expressway in the distance, which is kind of the direction we're heading. But we're not actually going to go onto the Aston Expressway. Before we get to it, we're going to take this left here onto, it does actually have a name surprisingly, Upper Thomas Street, even though it's basically just a piddly little side road, around the back of the school. And then we hop up into Aston Park and towards Aston Hall. Aston Hall, which you can just about see in the distance as these trees clear, was built between 1618 and 1635, and according to Wikipedia is a leading example of the Jacobean prodigy house, whatever that means. It was built for Sir Thomas Holt, after which the Holt end's named, who was by all accounts a bit of a bastard. It's one of the most haunted places apparently in the UK, and open for visitors to have a look around. Now, I may be a little bit biased as I'm a Villa fan, but surely this is one of the greatest sights in English football, walking down these autumnal tree-lined streets. Just see Villa Park peering out. Beautiful. Now, in order to get to the place where you actually want to store your bikes, hopefully on match days they usually open that gate that kind of sits at the bottom of the Trinity Road stand there that you can see, and you just should just be able to wheel your bike through. As you can see from my amazing map that I've drawn, it's located around the back of the Villa Village store, the Villa shop. So just wheel your bike through the car park and it will be round the back of there. Alternatively, if those gates aren't open, you can always access it from Witton Lane as well and then go around the back. I've included a picture of the cycle stand. I've not actually been there myself, but it was tweeted by the Villa team. I don't know if they're proud of it because it does look like the place where school kids go and have a crafty fag. It's pretty underwhelming, to be honest, and kind of embarrassing, but that's all you've got to go with at the moment. So hopefully with the improvements that they'll make to the stadium, they'll put in some better cycle infrastructure. Who knows? But thanks again for watching the video. I hope you found it useful. If you have any other ideas for alternate routes or want to mention anything that I've forgotten, please feel free to comment below. I try to upload these videos as much as I can, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any routes. Thanks ever so much again for watching.